borderline personality disorder. I was asking a friend about it, Junaju. I've had a very rushed morning.
Yeah.
So I was msanduthi, unajua borderline personality disorder. Akaniambia si ni wale wasi wanakuanga tu na mood zina shifts left, right and center. I was surprised that he has a hint about it,
Yeah.
but what exactly is it?
Okay, so first let's understand what a personality disorder is. And I'm going to try and explain it in very, very simple and layman understanding. A personality disorder, just as the name suggests, it's a disorder that is ongoing because it's not a mood disorder. Depression is a mood disorder. Okay. Bipolar is a mood disorder, meaning that if your mood is stabilized or elevated or if something is dealt with within the mood, you'll be okay. But a personality disorder is whether you're taken from Kenya, put in Sudan or Somalia, the same problem will persist because it's part of who you are, it's part of your personality. So that's a personality disorder. Now let's look at what is called a bipolar personality disorder. So there are 10 personality disorders, clustered in different clusters. So you have cluster A, which has 3, cluster B, which has 4, and then cluster C, which has 3. So by borderline personality disorder is under cluster B, and it's clustered alongside narcissistic personality disorder, antisocial personality disorder, histrionic personality disorder, and then now we have borderline personality disorder. So under borderline personality disorder, how would you tell if someone has borderline personality disorders? And we describe them in 9 traits. So we meaning what we as psychologists use to diagnose, which is the DSM-5, Diagnostic Statistical Manual 5, Volume 5, or ICD. So ICD is the international cluster or diagnostic. So under the DSM-5, the borderline personality disorder has 9 traits. Okay. And for you to be diagnosed with borderline personality disorders, you must have 5 out of the 9. So what are the 9? 1 is an intense fear of abandonment, perceived or real. So like I've met you and someone who has a borderline personality disorder, when I call you and you don't pick, or when we agree that we're gonna meet and you're 10 minutes late, or you send a message and say something has come up, for me, because I'm suffering from borderline personality disorder, it's, oh my gosh, she has left me. I'm going to die. How can she do this? And for you, it would be, okay, I understand these things happen. But for someone who has borderline personality disorder, they actually feel like they're going to die.
So it's an extreme feeling that is beyond the usual.
Yes, it's an extreme fear of abandonment. So that's 1. Number 2, difficulties in interpersonal relationships. A person who has borderline personality disorder has very short-lived many relationships because remember, fear of abandonment, right? Yes. So what that looks like is they may not have long-term, like I'm sure you have friends from primary school or friends whom you have like 15 years ago and all that stuff. This is not someone who has a borderline personality disorder. And then number 3 is a lack of self-identity. So this is the sad thing I would say about borderline personality disorder. How I like to describe it is like a drum or maybe like a tire. It has no ceiling. So air passes through. So they constantly have a sense of, they don't know who they are. And because they don't know who they are, today they're in braids, tomorrow they're in a weave, the next day they're in something else. Because they're trying to fill that void of their identity, of who they are. So that's number 3. Number 4, which is normally something that is dangerous, is suicidal thoughts, or what we call suicide ideation. And because the number 1 fear is being abandoned, so you're not going to leave me. So what do? And because I can't live with this pain, I feel like I am just gonna die. I'm going to try and commit suicide. And the saddest thing about it is that, and this is where the name is gotten from, borderline personality disorder, is the person wants to live, but they're sure they can't live with what they're feeling, with the lack of sense of inadequacy, with their fear of being abandoned. And suicide is, for them, that's just a means to try and eliminate what they're feeling inside. Now, what is dangerous about it is, even though they don't intend to kill themselves, at some point they can go overboard and take the many pills or cut it too deep. So that's number 4. Number 5 is extreme anger. And I'm not talking about yesterday you were angry, today it's possibly a constant anger explode. You just explode. And normally what that looks like is like, you've left me, so it's, how can you leave me? I'm here for you. It's just anger and anger and anger. And until that anger is out, that's when the person is able to calm down. And then number 6 is the shifting of moods constantly. A feeling of, okay, so now I'm happy. And it's within the same hour. And this is what distinguishes borderline personality disorder with bipolar.
Okay.
Borderline personality disorder, the person experiences feelings of joy, happiness within the same hour. And then the other criteria is psychotic. Psychosis is just a medical term to mean losing
one's mind.
Losing reality. And they could actually have a psychotic break where someone feels like, oh my gosh, someone is coming to kill me, or someone is coming to take away my life. And for them, it's real. So that criteria, if you have 5, then you may have borderline personality disorder.
Okay.
But assessment is done over a long duration of time.
Yeah.
And it's not, I can't come and take the form and say, oh, you have borderline. No, I have to see you again and again and again and again to ascertain really this person has, this person has borderline personality disorder. Because sometimes it can be misdiagnosed, and the worst thing about it is then when you're put into meds or the therapeutic approach is different, we are treating something that's not there.
Yeah.
Which, and if you're not treating the real problem, the problem still persists and it keeps going on.
Yeah.
So I just want to be very clear that it has to be done again and again and again.
Okay.
It's a slow process.
Okay.